Well, hi, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to another edition of Breaking News, our second one for the day. That is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. And four more noteworthy stories have come across the wire since we talked to you last, so let's get right to them. First of all, Prime Minister Netanyahu and Donald Trump did have that phone call today. It was supposed to be yesterday, we were told, but they did have it today, and Trump said, we're on the same side on every issue. This is from the Jerusalem Post. We'll talk about that and see what that means. Also, the U.S. has issued fresh Iran-related sanctions. The a website from the United States Treasury says. This is a Reuters story. Now, this is good. They're keeping up the pressure on Iran even during the negotiations, so more sanctions have been placed against them. We'll talk about that. Iranian Foreign Minister dangles a trillion-dollar deal or trillion-dollar opportunities for U.S. companies in Iran. In other words, they're going to want to build some 19 nuclear reactors. They said the U.S. could partner with us, and it'd be a trillion-dollar deal. In other words, they're really desperate to get these nuclear reactors going, aren't they? So now they're talking about money, money, money. And finally, our last story, Egypt to Hamas, disarm now to the last bullet. This is from the website Israel Hayom. So we've got four really important stories that have come across. So let's look at them. Okay, first story. Trump Netanyahu. This is from the Jerusalem Post. They claim they're on the same side of every issue after a phone call. The call went very well, Trump wrote. We're on the same side of every issue without elaborating further. Now, Netanyahu and U.S. President Donald Trump spoke on the phone on Tuesday in the first such conversation since Netanyahu's visit to Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago. According to Trump's post on a social media network, Truth Social, the conversation covered numerous subjects, including trade and Iran. The call went very well, he wrote. We are on the same side of every issue without elaborating further. Unlike their first meeting in February, the meeting 2 weeks ago was reportedly less successful for Israel. While Trump continued to express full support for Israel's policy in the war against Hamas, and in a stern warning to Iran that they would be at risk without an agreement, he did not lift the 17% tariffs on Israel. Now, whatever Trump said to Netanyahu seemingly calmed his worry about the United States making some agreement that would put Israel in jeopardy. Again, we must wait and see how all this pans out. However, and here's our friend Larry Goldstein wrote as a commentary on this. It's interesting. He's really got some insight. He said it's impossible to know what this means. Earlier this week, the U.S. State Department said the U.S.-Iran talks are going well. Now Trump says about the call with Netanyahu. The call went very well. We're on the same side of every issue. How can both things be true? It's a good question. Iran announced that we'll want 19 nuclear reactors. They did not say so, but presumably they mean all for civilian research and power creation. However, they are not known to be doing any civilian R&D with nuclear, and they have enough fossil fuels to last for decades. So is that also going very well? Whatever direction Trump is headed and whatever his conclusion, Israel must take military action against Iran, either the nuclear plants or the Karg Island oil facilities or the Ayatollahs or some combination. Nothing else will stop the Iranian drive to nuclear weapons. Israel cannot accept a situation where Iran has weapons or is on the verge of having them within a few days, nor can we accept 19 nuclear reactors in Iran. The time for action is coming near. We say amen to that. So we will see. We have to wait and see. Seemingly Netanyahu was satisfied by it. That is according to Donald Trump. We'll find out soon enough, won't we? All right, headline number two, and this is a good story here, though. U.S. issues fresh Iran-related sanctions, the Treasury website says. The United States has imposed sanctions on Iran previously as nuclear talks were underway, and this is Reuters. The United States issued new sanction Tuesday targeting Iran's liquefied petroleum gas magnate. The name is Syed Asadullah Amanyomem, well, that's quite a name, and his corporate network. The Treasury Department said amid ongoing talks with Tehran on its nuclear program. Emanjomed's network is responsible for shipping hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Iranian LPG and crude oil to foreign markets, the Treasury said in a statement. Both products are a major source of revenue for Iran, helping them to fund its nuclear and advanced conventional weapons program, it said, as well as the regional proxy groups, including Hezbollah, Yemen's Houthis, and the Palestinian Hamas group. Jameh and his network sought to export thousands of shipments of LPG, including from the United States, to evade U.S. sanctions and generate revenue for Iran. This is from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent He said that in a statement today. Now, this is good. So it's important that U.S. keeps the pressure on Iran during these so-called negotiations. Again, it remains to be seen if anything can be agreed upon between the two countries. Headline number three. Now, this one, you don't know what to say. Iranian Foreign Minister dangles $1 trillion opportunities for U.S. companies in Iran in a canceled address. This is from the Jerusalem Post. Companies in the United States were invited to partake in lucrative business opportunities involving Iran's plan to erect over 19 additional nuclear reactors, as Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, he said today, Monday. No, he said yesterday, Monday. Iran's long-term plan is to build at least 19 nuclear reactors. This means tens of billions of dollars in potential contracts are available for U.S. firms, Araghchi said. American companies could explore the trillion-dollar opportunity that Iranian economy presented, including companies that could help generate clean electricity from non-hydrocarbon sources, he added. Furthermore, Araghchi said the Iranian market alone was large enough to revive America's faltering nuclear industry. Now, these statements were supposed to be delivered by the Iranian foreign minister as part of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace think tank at their 2025 nuclear policy conference. However, he canceled it because he found out it wasn't just a speech he was supposed to give. It was a speech with a Q&A. There's going to be dialogue back and forth, and he didn't want to have that, so he canceled the speech. So, despite this, the Iranian foreign minister decided to make his scheduled public speech in written form, publishing it both on social media and through government news agencies. Now, get this. In addition to attempts at tempting the U.S. administration public with trillions by investing in Iran's energy sector nuclear program, Araghchi slammed the international community for ignoring Israel's nuclear arsenal and refusing to join the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. Israel does, like we said, have nuclear weapons. They've never admitted it, but we all know they're there. Moreover, Araghchi called for an end to any threatening language that could harm Iran's honor and said that Tehran was the only country to officially oppose nuclear weapons on religious grounds. Araghchi had also planned to address what he deemed the mischaracterization of Iran's nuclear program, which he said has been misunderstood due to politically motivated narratives. The U.S. working with Iran to help them build nuclear reactors? Are you kidding me? Now, this does seem impossible, doesn't it? Sadly, in our world, where money is the most important thing, you never know, do you? But this is what he's held out to him. Hey, we could get a peace deal. We want to build 19 nuclear reactors. We can have the U.S. firms come in and help us do it. Trillions of dollars are available. What could possibly go wrong? So that's what he wrote today. And we'll see what the response is. Now, finally, Egypt to Hamas. This is really interesting. Disarm completely down to the last bullet. This is from Israel Hayom website. Egypt is demanding that Hamas fully dismantle its armed capabilities in exchange for a 5-year ceasefire and immunity for senior leaders. Meanwhile, the IDF is taking control of neighborhood after neighborhood in Rafah, expanding its hold on the northern Gaza Strip and preparing for even more intense military operations. Israel and the U.S., with the mediation by Qatar and Egypt, and with the involvement of the Palestinian Authority, continue to pursue a hostage deal. Parallel to these negotiations, the Israeli Defense Forces are pushing ahead in Rafah, taking over one area at a time, consolidating control in northern Gaza, and gearing up for the next phase of combat. Egypt, which has joined the demand for Hamas to fully disarm, as first reported by this same website, Israel Hayom, is now leading the mediation efforts. According to the Qatar channel Al Arabi, Egypt's proposal places demilitarization at the top of the agenda. In return, Hamas would receive a long-term ceasefire of at least 5 years. Sources involved in negotiations say Egypt is providing Israel with regular updates on the proposal and outcomes of the talks with Hamas leaders. A Hamas delegation expected in Cairo is anticipated to address primarily the demand here's the key, to relinquish all weaponry, a condition that senior Hamas officials recently called it a red line. And believe me, it is a red line. They'll never disarm. Egyptian officials made it clear to Hamas that any further refusal to disarm will lead to an escalation in Israel's military campaign. Israel's been saying that now the last couple of days. We're pushing them. We're giving them a little space. But if they don't respond to these overtures for hostage release, we're going to really come down on them hard. Now, here's what it's going to lead to an escalation to Israel's military campaign if they refuse to disarm. But here's the interesting takeaway here. Reports indicate that the organization's remaining military and civilian supplies are expected to run out within a month to 6 weeks. Well, that's great news if the last sentence is true. Supplies running out soon. Now, one would then assume, right, Hamas would have to deal. However, don't count on it with them. Now, as is true with all these stories, they're all ongoing. Stay tuned. We'll find out how they all turn out. I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching. And as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.